Well, hello there, YouTube. It's Friday, June 16th, 2023, and I've got another quick little video for you. You know, now that I'm getting into actually dressing this engine, now I'm going to install the AC bracket and the power steering bracket. So that's really what this video is about. It's going to be quick. You know, I wanted to get those things in place before I move on. It's all about dressing the engine at this point, you guys. So, hey, if you're not a subscriber, become a subscriber. I'm going to be starting this engine here pretty soon. It looks like now. You know, my name's Tony from TonyLiveTV, and I took this whole car apart and I'm putting it all back together. So I'm going to be trying to start this car live on YouTube, and I'd like you guys to join me for that. So, hey, thank you guys for subscribing. You know, that's how you support this whole project. I'm not making any money. No, I'm not monetized. Nobody's giving me any. Actually, Mercedes has given me some things. I have gotten rings. So, yeah, I guess I have. So anyway, let's get this video going because there's so much I've got to do, not only with this vehicle and dressing this engine, but I have a lot going on in my own life. All week long I've been saying, I gotta get this, and then something came up. My wife's radiator hoses blew off on the bottom of her car, and then it's just one thing after another, so. I'm trying to keep up, you know. I thought as I was slowing down, the earth would slow down, everything would slow down, but it's not. All right, that's enough rambling on. So why don't I just get this video going and I'll catch you guys on the next one. So this is the AC bracket. I want you to notice these two. These are different lengths, and this goes into the front timing cover. Let me show you over there on the engine. So this will go on here like this, with this bracket right here will mount onto those. And here's one of those bolts. The other one you can't see because it's behind there. But what you'll notice on here that I've put a blue line as well as a yellow. And that is because when I put the timing cover on, I did that on purpose to let me know that those were bolts I purchased and I'm using temporarily so I could torque down the front cover without installing all this stuff. I'll be removing that one and that one. This one was actually missing. This is for the actual compressor, has a loop in it. Well, here's a picture of that right here. So you can see it's got that little tab right there. That's bent. You know, so they left out everything, and that's what this bolt right here is marked for. So I have a new bolt for that. So now back here, this is the part number for this bolt, the longer one. This is the part number for that one. And these lengths are, you know, critical. So there was nothing wrong with these bolts. I'm just replacing them for fun. The washers for these is this part number. Let's see if we can read that. Now let's take a look at the front here. For this one and this one, for those two, this is the part number. As a matter of fact, I bought 3, and the reason is because this, the one with that little bigger hole, goes onto the pan. Also, there's this one. This is that smaller one in the front, and then this is the part number for the little washer that goes onto that littler bolt. This is the part number for the washer that goes under these two, and as well as that one. There's 4 threaded holes here, which is part of how the compressor attaches. Here's the part number for that, 4 of them. And the washers that are used are the same. They all reference to this new number. So that one bolt sticking out right there, and if you look just to the left, there's another bolt hole, and that was missing when I removed it from the engine. So That's the part number for those two. Also, down there, that's a nut and a washer. There's the part number for the nut. And again, it's the same part number for the washer. If you ever need to replace that nut, that's the part number for that. These are the tools you're going to need for the job. Those new bolts are these 5mm hex, 6mm hex, 10mm socket, 13mm socket, an extension about that size, torque wrench capable of 25 Newton meters, and then you're going to need one of these big 27mm sockets because you have to turn the crankshaft to align the hole up. This is the one I'm talking about right here. This bolt hole right here is, here's the actual bolt that goes in. You can't even put that bolt in. So you say, oh, Tony, then, why'd you put that on? Well, you have to put that on first because this goes on here like this. That's actually just how it's gonna sit. That's why they put this notch in here. So right now I'm on top dead center. I wanna get the distributor in before I turn the engine because I want to turn the engine as least amount of times as possible before its first startup. The more times I turn it, that lubrication's going away. I'm gonna go ahead and still install all this because you still have to get it installed, right? So I can put this in. So I'm gonna leave out this bolt down there. That way there, I'll still get it all installed and then we'll move on to the next part. So you've got this post right here. I'm gonna put my finger like on that, so that way there I can line that up. To me, that's how I like to line things up, so that way there you're not scratching and trying to find the hole, right? I have my finger hitting it, and then I can align that right up on the hole and push it on in. And then probably the easiest one to do right now is this nut. I'm putting a washer on there and the new nut. And then the next one I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and put one of these ones in, and I'm just gonna put it in to this hole. You'll see that I have a washer on that as well. Here's the washers and the screws and nut. These are all the ones that I purchased. 122, right up there. There's two of them. That's these ones that I'm putting in right now. These two. So they show no washers. Also notice 137, that nut. They don't show a washer there either. But I chose to put washers because I don't like bolt against, component or whatever, unless it's a bracket. Bracket acts as a washer. There's no bracket here. So I'm choosing instead to use a washer. There was washers on this when I started. All right, so the next one I'm gonna be working on is that one right there. That's this one right here. Now these new bolts, they have I should have pointed that out, earlier. At least this one and these other two on the top right here, they have a smaller head to them. So this is that one that goes down in here that you can't see, that we have to line up that. I also want to point out that this, you have to have the nut in as well, because you can't get this nut on without taking this pulley off either. So make sure you've got everything that you want there before you go and put that together. That's the reason why I kind of started with this one right here, is because, there's a lot of little hidden things that are behind there and what you have to do. And I wouldn't tighten these down until after you've got all this fully torqued. And this is that small one with the small washer, which sits over here. I wouldn't have put this on right now. I would have instead turned this to where I needed to be to get to that bolt, but I put that on just for this picture, right? Normally the distributor would have already been in. We could just do the job. Okay, so we already know that the manual doesn't provide any torque specification. These are the torque specs. There's nothing special for the bracket that I can find or anything, so this is what we have, and that's not what I'm gonna deal with. These are the numbers that I'm gonna go with right here. This one, the one down here, these two at the top, and this one right here are all 8mm. The maximum, according to the chart, is 24. We already know that everybody's doing 25 on this. I brought it to 25 and that was fine. So I have my torque wrench set at 25 Newton. I'm bringing it to about 10. That's the 13mm, that nut. I'm not going to tighten these at all. But let's just pretend that that's what I just did, you guys. I'm trying to break these things up in just a quick little video, so it is what it is, right? So this is the AC bracket. Those ones that are marked 116 and 119, that's for these right here. All right, so that's those, and then those are the washers. But that's to put on your compressor itself. That's it. Just those four, and then like I said, this one right here, there's the little bracket, and that's what it would attach to. This is the power steering pump, and its bracket. So on the back side, you've got this little bracket right there, right? That bracket fits in that hole. So this nut right here, or bolt, goes towards the top, right? And then this is the back against the vehicle. There's one stud here, and then you've got these two sliders for your adjustments. Let's go take this to the engine. These are the 4 mounting points. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm gonna start with this lower one first. Now, you notice there's 2 holes, right? 2, 2, 2, 2, and that's so you can maybe use different size belts or whatever, or I don't know, maybe for different engines. Either way, this came out of that one, and so I'm gonna start with that. All right. Next, I'll get this one. Those are 13mm. Make sure, this runs free. Each one of these have a washer. Everything about this is wrong. Almost everything. This is what I was talking about. If someone's been here before, you got to be really careful. So I knew that when I took this apart, I knew that this one was longer than that one. Clearly a difference. I didn't think anything of it, except that before I install, especially at this stage of the game, I want to pull up a parts list and just see what the heck's going on here. So according to this, number 143, which is the one that we're dealing with right now, there should be 4, and they have the same part number. But in my case, of course, they're different lengths. So if you guys will forgive me, I'm not gonna torque this down. I'm gonna buy the right bolts. Not only is that wrong, but these nuts are also wrong. All 3 of these nuts are different. That's the one thing I noticed. And according to the printout, number 173, and those should all be the same. And there's 3 of them. So all 3 of these should be the same. So what else is wrong with this thing? So again, not only are all 3 of these nuts different, but they're missing a washer. None of these have any washer whatsoever. But you can see, according to this, so here's the ones that we're looking at, 173, which is the nuts, and then we have 170. You see the shape of that? It's like a cut-out piece of washer. That's how they identify spring washers. You see number 149 over there? It's a full circle, that's a regular washer. So coming back to number 170 and 173, you can see we have 3 spring washers and 3 nuts. And all 3 of those nuts should be the same, and they're not the same. So, you know, that's okay. I'm not installing this today anyways because I want to do a whole thing on actually installing the power steering pump because I want to talk about bleeding it and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to actually probably do that on the vehicle. But I did want to get this all torqued down, but unfortunately, because this is definitely the wrong bolt. These other ones are probably the correct ones. I don't know because I can't find specifics on it. I just know that all 4 of these are the same. Number 143, so the same part number, and 4 flat washers. So that's where I'm at so far. So once you've made sure that this thing here is how it is, won't turn, and you've got it in the right slot, and you have all your proper bolts in there, the next thing you would do is torque it. And the manual actually provides that information. So there it is right there. Our M8 is for 25 Newton meters. So you'll want to set your thing to 25 and go ahead and torque it down. But I hope you guys will forgive me. I'm not going to torque this down because I have the wrong bolts. So there it is. It's all attached. It's not torqued down. You guys and I know that it's not, but we all know what we're going to torque it down to. So that's what's important. Let's just pretend that that's what I did, you know, and I'm not going to be installing the actual pump itself until a later video because I want to bleed it. You know, I want to show how all that's done and make a complete separate video for that. All I want to do right now is move forward, right? Now, this is the place where I'm going to install the distributor. And if you'll notice a pointer down there, it's already at 0, and that's the reason why I didn't want to turn this crankshaft. Because when I install the distributor, I want it to be a top dead center. I already know that this is a top dead center. So that's really what the next video is going to be, is I want to get the distributor all installed, and you know, because I actually have all the parts for that. And as far as those other things go, you know, I'll just go ahead and, you know, get them ordered, and then that way there, you know, as soon as they come in, I'll torque that down. And I already have everything, you know, obviously for the AC, I just didn't turn it. So once I get the distributor in there, I want to go ahead and turn it over. So when I do, I will finish torquing that AC bracket. And then we'll move forward. That way there, the right side of everything will be done, right? And then we can just continue on and move on to the next part of this whole engine build, you guys. I mean, we're moving forward. That's all that counts. Even if there's a missing bolt or a washer here and there, right? That's kind of what ends up happening. Again, I think you really have to pay attention. I almost let that one go. You saw I put it all together and I go, wait a minute, I know that this is a different size. I'm going to measure these bolts. Thank you, Tassos. Tassos is the guy that's getting me into this measuring stuff, and I really appreciate it. Look how many things I know that are wrong. I know that they're wrong. So, yeah, I'm just trying to pay attention because these are the places that other people have been, and that's the point. You know, if someone else has been there, make sure they put this thing back together the way you started. So, all right, you guys, so you know what's coming up next. So, until the next one, thanks again for watching.